Howdy. We're going to be doing another Hack the Box machine today. The machine that we're doing is called Grandpa, and it's a pretty easy machine. The reason that we're going to be doing this machine is because it touches on something that we haven't really covered yet, and that's process migration within the Metasploit framework console. Process migration is really useful to us because it allows us to switch our reverse shell over to more stable process, or avoid any antivirus or manual auditing that might be happening on the target machine that's looking for strange child processes. But anyways, let's just hop into it. All right, here we are at the desktop, and I like to keep organized, so we're going to create a folder, and we are going to name it after the machine here, so Grandpa. We're going to hop in, and I'm going to make a scan folder. We're going to open that scan folder, and then we're going to open up a terminal inside of that scan folder. Let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Now we're just going to do a scan of our target machine, just an nmap scan, to see what open ports there are and to see what services are running on those open ports. So we're going to go nmap tac s cv. C is going to run our basic scripts, and V is going to get our version information from the services that are running on the open ports. We're going to do tac T5. This is going to make it so our scan is really aggressive. We're not super worried about tripping any intrusion detection systems or anything like that might be on the network. This is an easy box. It's not something we really have to worry about. And then I'm going to take our IP address of our target and toss it in there. And then I like to keep a record of our scans. So we're going to use tac-ox there and output this as an XML file. And I'm going to call it scan1.xml. I'm also a fan of beautifying my scan file. So we're going to go xslt proc. And we're going to give it that scan1.xml file. We're going to output it as scan1.html so we can open it up in a nice, easy to view format inside of our web browser. Now let's go ahead and run that. There we go, we're all done. There's not a whole lot going on this box. So there's not a need for us to look at the HTML file, but it might be easier for you guys to view. So let's open this up with our web browser, and I'll zoom in for you when I'm editing the video here. But if we look at our scan summary, we can actually see the command and the flags that we pass through for our scan. That way, if we have to do multiple scans, we can go back, we can see what we've done. We're not redoing things. And we're going to go down into our open ports. It looks like the only open TCP port that we have is port 80. Port 80 is almost always used for hosting web servers. Let's see here. So looks like our web server is an IIS web server. So that means our target machine is going to be a Microsoft box. It's going to be a Windows machine. Looks like it's under HTTP title it's returned is that it's under restriction. Some web dev stuff here. Let's go and take a look at what is actually here. Not much. So the site is just under construction. That's okay. Let's take a look at... So let's take a look at version vulnerabilities for Microsoft IIS 6.0. And copy that over. And we could just go simple Google search exploit. Oh, IIS 6.0 vulnerability leads to code execution. That's good. I mean, it's not good, but that's what we want. So we've got a CVE here. Now, let's see if we can make things easier on ourselves and see if there's a Metasploit module that correlates to that CVE. come in here, let's open up a new tab, zoom back in, and let's start our Metasploit framework console. And if you didn't know this, you can search Metasploit modules by CVE. So we're gonna put our CVE in there, and it looks like we have a module. It's got a manual rank, but it's worth giving a try. So we're gonna go use 0. And now let's see what options we have. All right. So we're gonna have to set our hosts there, which is just gonna be the target IP address. Let's grab that IP address, pop it in there. And then we're gonna have to set our local host. So we're gonna go set TACG to globally set our IP address here to 10.10.14.2. Now let's see if we can get a foothold on this machine. Hey, there we go. That was wicked easy. And, this is why patch management is so important. The reason why this was so easy is because we have an unpatched, older version of an IIS server. Let's see. Let's drop into a shell and see who we are. Let's go, who am I? NT Authority Network Service. Okay. So, promising, but we're not quite there. So we want NT Authority System. Network Service, we have some permissions, but it's not everything that we need. Let's see if we can get the user flag, though. So it looks like Harry's our only user. Let's see if we have access to Harry. No, we don't. All right, so we're going to have to find a way to elevate our privileges before we can get our user flag and then our root flag. So let's go ahead and exit this session, or exit this shell. Great, and then we're going to background this session. Now we're going to use a tool that we've previously used, that we actually used on the devil machine there, and that's going to be the local exploit suggester. We use 0. Let's take a look at our options. So we've got the session option that we need to set. And if we scroll up here, when we backgrounded our session, it backgrounded as session 1. If we come back down here, we're going to go set session 1. Great. And now we can run this exploit suggester, and it's going to take that session and it's going to try and find some privilege escalation paths for us. It can take a little bit of time to run, though. All right. So, it might be obvious, but everything in red, the tool doesn't think that we have a good exploit path on, and then everything green, it thinks that there's a chance that we could, that it is vulnerable right there. So let's try and use this first one here. We actually use this one to elevate privileges on the devil machine as well. MS10015. So let's copy that. Come back down here, and we're gonna go use. We're gonna use that exploit path, and you can see that we switched over to using that exploit. Let's see what our options are. Yep. So we already have set our local host globally. So we don't have to do that again, but we do need to set our session again. Go set, and if you had multiple sessions or you didn't know what session number you had, you can just type in sessions, and it'll list out your sessions for you. So we have session 1 right there. We're going to set session 1 again, and let's try to exploit this. Okay, so we actually got an exploit failed here. STD API sysconfig get sid operation failed, access is denied. So go to sessions 1. We've now hopped back into our session 1 there. And from here, we can use the ps command to list out all the sessions that are running. And if you remember, we're running as the network service user, so we can hop between these processes. So we can hop between these processes to be able to find a more stable process. Now, let's just go through the list and let's try swapping over to other processes. And for an example, let me try and swap over to one of these other processes here that we are not the owner of, just so you can see what happens. So let's try and take over the winlogon.exe. So we're going to use the migrate command, tach n, so we're going to be able to give it the process name rather than a process ID, winlogon.exe. And we get this error that talks about that we cannot migrate to this process because we have insufficient privileges. We aren't the owner of that process. So let's start going through the processes that we do own. So we're currently on this 1764 cmd.exe process. Well, let's just start going down the list. Let's try the 1752 w3wp.exe. So we're going to go migrate without the n this time. And so we can just give it this process ID directly, 1752. Ooh, and I should have clarified. So this cmd.exe is actually a child process there running from us here, which is the run dll32.exe. So we switched from that one, 3384 to 1752. So let's go ahead and background this now that we've switched processes. Let's see if we're able to exploit this now. It's looking a lot more promising. Hey, we've got something back. So let's drop into the shell here. Try who am I? There we go, NT authority system. Now we have full control over the machine. There we go. So now we actually have our user flag. Let's go back. Oh, back one too many times. Let's go to documents and settings, administrator. And let's go to the administrator desktop. And we've got a root text, our root.txt file there. So we're going to go type root.txt. And there we have a root flag. We're done. Wasn't too bad at all. Hey, so I hope that was enjoyable. I hope you learned something new. I hope you walked, at least, even if you didn't learn anything new, you walked with something valuable. If you like Hack the Box, if you are like thinking about picking up a subscription for it, I've got 2 affiliate links down below. If you are already planning on doing it, it does help me out. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. All right, peace.